present to everyone. Hangout is live. Tom Duty, I'm with Joseph. Joseph, hola.
Hola, hello, this is Joseph from Financial Rescuers.
And Tom Duty, middle-aged American, living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of this famous puppy. Then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. This is a welcome call. This is the first time Financial Rescuers has done a recorded welcome call. This is happening for the first time for a couple of reasons. One is the client we're welcoming. Her name is Debbie. So this is produced expressly for Debbie. Her schedule combined with the business hours in Arizona don't leave a lot of overlap. So that's one reason we're doing it now. And the other reason is I like doing these things. So in other words, the audience is very specifically to Debbie. We recognize because of the format it's going to be recorded, it might capture some other listeners. I'm going to do my best to see that it does get other listeners. However, the production, the content is specifically for Debbie. So Debbie, I'm going to repeat some of the key points I used when I pitched this debt relief program to you, and then Joseph is going to take over as a representative of the office who is going to service your like 6 creditors, and he's going to tell you what it's like to be a client. So I'm going to repeat in my words what it's like to be a client, and then Joseph's going to give you a more from the people who actually do the work version. So here we go. Debbie, in the very first phone call that we had, I was cold calling. You ended up with a missed call. You called me back. I have a feeling I had left a voicemail message so you knew who you were calling. We spent somewhere around 35 minutes on that phone call, and I told you something very close to this. Here is how it works. Our clients are typically paying their debt monthly. They are keeping, those payments are keeping their debt paid as agreed. So they take the bold move of not paying as agreed. They break their monthly cycle, and by doing that, the payoff, the price of that debt declines rapidly. So this is good news. There's unquestionably good news for anyone who's paying their debt that the price is going down. But it's not all happy news, because that good news is bundled with some bad news, some risks. So the first bad thing is that even though you have a reduced price, you don't necessarily have enough money to pay even at the reduced price. So I'm not going to say any numbers in this. I heard myself say some numbers yesterday. I'm not going to repeat numbers, Debbie, yours, or anyone else's. Not even going to do hypothetical. But if someone has a typical amount of debt that they might accumulate over 4 decades, now they're in their 50s, and they get a 20% discount on that, hey, great, that's something to celebrate, but they need time to pay it. So that's exactly what Financial Rescuers does. Financial Rescuers gets its clients time to save the money to pay their debt. And not just time, but time in peace. So they can focus on earning the money. We will focus on making sure they have enough money to pay their debt when the time is right. Then the other problem with breaking the monthly cycle, not paying as agreed, is 3 risks. So those are as follows. They might have to pay taxes on the amount that they save. Now, Debbie, you and I have talked about it. I know quite a bit about your finances, and I've told you this is just a very distant worry for you. I can't tell people that things will never happen. However, I know your finances well enough to know that the likelihood of you paying a tax is very close to 0. Nonetheless, I'm obligated to tell you about it. It is in our contract. It's got to be there in writing, and you have to sign saying you know that. The second thing is when people are not paid as agreed, when they've broken that monthly cycle, they are at risk of getting collector calls, their credit score will crash, and they get threatening letters. Now, Debbie, you have a combination of debt that is on time and a couple of accounts that are delinquent. So none of this is a surprise to you. You've already gotten threatening collector calls, your credit score is already bad, and you get threatening letters. So we are now putting you in a program that's going to be sure that this condition that you're experiencing, collector calls, credit score, threatening letters, to see that it's temporary. And then finally, people might get sued. Now, there is nothing more important than what Joseph does. What he and his amigos and the boss Adam do is to spare their clients from lawsuits. It's not that we prevent lawsuits, it's that we do prevent lawsuits from being judged final, and we do that by engaging with them aggressively and arranging an out-of-court settlement, netting, if it works properly, and the strategy nearly always does, the lawsuit is dismissed, nobody has to go to court, there's a financial arrangement made out of court. One by one, whether these risks are realized or whether they're not, the program advances according to the financial tables that were in the agreement when our client signed to become a client, and that still finishes whether these risks happen or whether they don't. If someone has a really charmed program and they don't get sued at all, they still get out of the program according to the predictions that we've made, or usually sometimes slightly better. So that's how it works. Again, it starts when people let their debt slide, they break the monthly cycle, they're no longer paid as agreed. That gets the benefit of a lower price. That's good news, but it comes with bad news. Financial rescuers are professionals. They excel and are experienced in softening, lessening, reducing, and terminating those negatives to be sure that our client gets the benefit of the lower price while the negatives are managed by professionals. So that's what I said to you, and now you're being turned over to the office that'll do this work for you, and this is the beginning of the welcome call. Again, Joseph, I'll repeat like I did yesterday. Debbie, I refer to yesterday, we had a tech problem, so what we recorded together, we did this yesterday, what we recorded together was unusable. So where we'll be at the end of this is, Debbie, you will be instructed to engage with Joseph by email to determine what you will pay in your first payment and when. A small correction, I told you that you would determine that after your account is open, but Joseph is going to correct me. So go ahead, Joseph.
Hello, to whom this may concern, or Debbie. I'm Joseph, Financial Rescuer. I was going to give you a welcome call. Welcome to the program. If you have any questions, we'll be here. There's a negotiations department. After the first couple weeks, we will assign you to a negotiator, and that will be probably your most point of contact. I manage all the support emails here at Financial Rescuer, so I will see any questions or inquiries or problems that are going on. I will be sure to hand those either to the attorney himself or to your negotiator. We'll start with I gave you all the information. I emailed this to you yesterday on August 1st around 2 p.m. my time, so about 5 p.m. your time. I sent it to your email that was provided to me from Tom Duty himself. I give you the office number, which is 866-516-1985. The support email you should have received that's from support@financialrescuers.com. It'd be best for you to try and send us as much of your collection letters as possible, just so we know if there's any kind of updates with your account, if your debt's been sold to another collection agency, if they're trying to proceed legal action, if the debt has changed. Sometimes they accrue interest, sometimes they don't. Depending on the collection agency, sometimes they like to tack on their own fees. So our fax number is 347-435-2552. If you could just send any and if all your information to that fax number, or you can email it directly to the support email. If it's best for you, you can mail it to us in that email I gave you. I provided our mailing address. If it's easier for you, just in one, each month, just to mail a package of all your collection letters. Some people just, like different ways. It will take a couple months to accrue enough money in your account to start tackling some of your debt. We will definitely try and go for the ones that are most attention first, but just, please give us time to try and get as much money as we can into your account to start seeing some progress. You are a part of the Legal Veritas plan, so if you do by chance receive a summons, a lien, a judgment, a garnishment, anything in that category of legal trouble, you do have an attorney that is assigned to you in your city and state, so they can go ahead and answer any kind of legal documentations they need to handle for you, and hopefully we can come to an agreement before they go any further in any kind of legal trouble. If you feel that you might miss a payment or need to extend the payment a couple days, you just need a free month off, just please, if you could call, if not, send us an email a couple days before. I would be the one to take care of this so that I can go to adjust that payment for you, either add it to the end of your program or, just, let you off a couple days, whatever it would help for you. Of course, you could always add more to your monthly drafts to increase your program to get it along faster. Again, that's totally up to you. There's no pressure on that. Again, just let us know. Keep us up to date with all your account information. If by chance you move, email address change, different phone number, just try and keep us up to date as much as possible. Since we are trying to handle all of your debt, we are trying to take care of you, and it'd be best if you just keep us as up to date as possible. And I think that's about it. I sent you an email with all this information in it also. So you don't have to take the time to write it down now. You could just print it out or just save that email in your email address and keep all this information handy. Tom?
Joseph, I got distracted. You probably heard I took a phone call, but I don't think you said you in order to open the account you had to pick a date and an amount. I think you should tell Debbie what that is.
Well, the amount's already preset. We already agreed on the amount that we agreed on in your contracts at $362.21 a month. As far as the date, as of right now, the default date is for the 15th. So if you can just get to us sometime before the 5th, you can get to us anytime before the 10th, so we can either adjust it to a later date. If you want the 15th is a good date for you, that is a Monday, about 2 weeks from now. If you want to keep that date, good. If not, we can change it to a later date, or if you want it earlier in the month, we can always prolong it. It's up to you. If you just get back to us as soon as possible, that way we can make that arrangement for you.
But Joseph, I'm not. You're articulating flexibility on date, but I'm not hearing you articulate flexibility on amount. I've told Debbie the first payments until her short-term financial pressures reduce. Her first payments can be less.
Yeah, well, I mean, less than what's on her contract.
Right.
Again, that's totally up to Debbie and how she wants to handle that. We're not going to pressure her into paying more or less into the program. Whatever she feels comfortable with.
Okay, so Debbie, let me just pick up there. That I've already given you this number, and I'll give it to you again. But it's a minimum that Global Client Solutions will take as a monthly payment. I kind of don't want to say it on this format, given that it's subject to change, and this could be listened to by anyone at any time. So, but anyways, Debbie, there is a minimum, and we can get you down to that minimum if that's your choice. Again, the real goal of the program is to look at the amount, the total price tag of the program, total fees and escrow, and get yourself on track to paying that in 36 months. So that means how low can it be? Well, it's got to be above the minimum, but you're comfortably above the minimum in the early payments. And then how much can you afford to get yourself on track to finishing in 36 months? So that's what, so even though I didn't hear it, Joseph is describing the flexibility in both amount and date. So again, repeat the 15th of August I heard, but say the amount again, Joseph.
As of right now, we are set to draft $362.21 on the 15th of August. Now, if they want to change that amount and that date, I would definitely be best to get a hold of us. Global will start processing that on the 14th, so
right.
any day before the 14th will be absolutely fine. We just need to know beforehand, especially if that amount's not okay and they go to try and pull that amount.
And hearing, Joseph, I'm going to match up something I know about Debbie with the different ways to contact you. Debbie does a lot of her banking and this kind of financial thinking late at night. So, like I don't know what, between 10 and 2 in the morning. So Debbie, you asked if you could do these changes yourself with Global Client Solutions. The answer is no. However, you can do it by email. And that email, Joseph, repeat again.
That email is support@financialrescuers.com. That email is heavily monitored by me all day long. The owner himself does check that email periodically through the night. It'd be best not to try and email us at, 11:55 on the 14th, at night. That doesn't exactly give
So
us.
Debbie, I hope we're being crystal clear. Don't wait too long. We're tracking to the 15th. So sooner is better to get that a payment that you can afford. Again, if you need to know what that minimum number is, I will give that to you again.
Well, and actually here, Tom, let me clarify one more thing. Technically, that amount, the 362.21 on the 15th, that is on her contract, and that's what is being uploaded into Global at the moment. But that I actually have to go in there myself, or the accounting department will go in there, and they will actually authorize the rest of those drafts. So technically, at the moment, your account, I believe, is now open or will be open later today. There aren't any drafts scheduled. So, realistically, you could really get back to us anytime in the next couple of weeks, preferably sooner than later, so we can get your program started. But as of right now, there won't be any drafts authorized until you give the okay.
Oh, okay. So it's the clock isn't started ticking yet. Debbie's going to start the clock ticking when she tells you when and how much.
Right. Global.
Great. All right. So Debbie, you can start sooner, and we would advise you to do that. So you use this welcome call. I'm going to follow up with a phone call to you tomorrow between 10 and noon, so that's news to me. So you could not just change the amount and keep the date. You can change the date and the amount and start earlier. So
right.
All right, that's the only part that I didn't hear with enough emphasis, Joseph. So I have back to you. You can finish.
Yeah. So for as far as the drafts, payments, and fees and all that goes, that is manually set up by the accounting department. And when your Global account is set up, nothing is actually inputted until we get the final okay to start putting drafts into your account. We don't want to start, pulling a draft tomorrow and you call us, on the 3rd or the 4th, screaming at us, going, "Hey, my account got overdrafted. Like, what the heck
Debbie
happened?"
won't scream at anyone. All right, we're done. Anything else? You got the?
No.
Oh, I didn't hear you say the phone number, Joseph.
It's 866-516-1985. I repeated it several times, and I also did send her an email yesterday after our first technical difficulty video. With all of the information, the address, phone number, fax number, email. Of course, I emailed her from the support email. Veritas's phone number. Again, when we get you enrolled in the program, as soon as you make your first draft, you will be enrolled into Veritas, and Veritas themselves will give you a welcome call. So you could expect that also. If you don't hear from them, they will also send you an email and leave you a voicemail. It's just kind of like, "Hey, by the way, we're representing you if you have any trouble," and all that good stuff. But that's about it. That's all you really need to know for now. Just make sure you keep us up to date with everything, and that's about it.
All right, this has been Joseph. You didn't say your last name. You're not trying to keep your last name off this, are you, Joseph?
No, my name is Joseph Hale. That's Hale.
All right, Joseph Hale. Joseph is in Mesa, Arizona. That is in the great North American desert near Sky Harbor International. It's been Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my today. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. Ciao. Ciao, Joseph. Thanks. Debbie, if you made it to this point, awesome. Thanks for listening. Ciao. Ciao.
Ciao. You all have a good day.